We all know the struggle of getting lost in the maze of Ableton Live, spending hours on repetitive tasks that slow down our creative flow. It's frustrating, time-consuming, and can suck the joy out of the exhilarating music-making process. And just when you finally got everything up, your brilliant idea evaporates. But what if there were ways to bypass these hurdles and streamline your music production process? In this video, I'm going to share 10 Ableton Live tips that will help you eliminate time-wasting tasks, enhance your productivity, and let your creativity shine. And trust me, you want to stick around for tip number 8. It saves me at least 2-3 hours each time I mix and master a song. Tip number 1. Default effect presets. Have you ever found yourself tweaking the same thing in the same effect over and over again, like having this low cut on each instance of EQ8 you drop? There's a super simple solution to that. Just do it once and then save it as a default effect preset. Set up what you gotta set up and then right click and save it as a default preset. And if you happen to make a super sweet instrument or effect track, just save it, update it every time you change something, and that's how we develop your unique sound. Tip number 2. Templates. Templates can really make or break your idea. If you have a sweet idea, just you sit by the Ableton and you start browsing drums, bass, pianos, synths, and you forgot already what you had to record. But instead do this, delete whatever's not needed, add your favorite drums, bass, synth, everything that gets you ready to start your new song. Then you can also add your favorite return track with your own favorite effect. And then save it as a default set, name it whatever you like, and now each time you open Ableton, your template will be ready for you, so you can start laying tracks to your new legendary beat. Tip number 3. Favorites. These colorful boxes here on the top are not a Christmas tree lights, they're here for a very particular purpose. Whatever instruments or drums or samples you happen to use the most, just put them here. They are very flexible, you can choose whatever categories you want and you can add whatever you want to them. Just do yourself a favor and try to use them as much as you can. Tip number 4. Shortcuts. Let's be honest, the more shortcuts you know, the faster you'll work. And you of course don't need to know all of them, but at least learn the most important ones. And search shortcut. I wouldn't be able to count how many months I saved thanks to this one. So if you know the name of the sample or preset or instrument that you want to find, just find it instead of looking in the browser. Watch the video on top of the screen to learn more. Tip number 5. Batch rename. So normally you just pick the track, you press rename, type the new name, press enter, and you do the same for the next track, and the next track, and the next one after, and that can add to quite a significant amount of time. Especially when you have like 50 plus tracks to rename. But try this, instead of pressing enter, press tab and you'll jump to the next instrument or next track, making the whole process like 3 times faster. Now, quick question, do you know the shortcut for renaming? I'm sure you do. Tip number 6, processing tracks in groups. If you found yourself doing the same processing on similar tracks, like you did the same on 5 tracks of bass or 10 layers of vocals, just group them together and process them as one. Not only you'll save some time tweaking, but you'll also save some CPU power. Because you'll need that little extra for 10 instances of Smooth Operator and 3 OTTs in a row. Tip number 7, hot swap instrument. This is really actually dope. If your song is on the sound design stage, and you just want to check if other drums wouldn't sound better than the ones you have, just click this little button here on the bottom, and then you can swap your instrument and swap your drums and listen how they sound like now. You can of course do the same with the basses, synths, instruments, whatever you basically like. And if you don't like it, you can always undo everything by Ctrl-Z or Command-Z. Tip number 8, and this one actually saves me hours each time I'm mixing or mastering a song. So if you're working hard on mixing or mastering a song, you usually use this loop marker, just to hear the same part over and over again. But when you want to export your song, you have to expand these loop markers, go to File, Export, and do whatever you do normally there. But then you normally want to come back to the same loop, so you have to shrink these loop markers again and work on your loop. And then you want to export again, so you have to expand them again. Well, after doing this like 20 times, you'll hate mixing forever. What you can do instead is create an empty MIDI track, give it some neutral color, create a MIDI clip, stretch it till the very end of the song until the last reverb says goodbye, and now each time you want to export, you just click on that MIDI clip and you can export the whole song. And if you want to work on the loop marker is still there intact. Tip number 9, folders and projects. If you try to open your project and you see this, well, it's not good at all, isn't it? How are you able to find anything in this mess? Oh yeah, great, this is even better. Well, it's not that hard as you think. So when you're saving a project, add a year and the month at the beginning of the name and add it some kind of name that is unique and resembles the feeling of the song. And now create separate folders for ideas, for something that you're developing and something that is a bit more advanced, and for everything else, trash. Now in Ableton's browser, click Add Folder, find it, press Open. And now it's so much easier to access your projects and you can move them around. Tip number 10, never automate gain or balance from the mixer. And I mean, like, that could sound like a good idea, but picture this. You're mixing your song and you want some of the parts to be quiet here, but you want to boost them a little bit further down the road. Yeah, like so. This will be perfect. Now you want this sweet synth to go all the way from the right ear to left, just like so. Just push it here to the left and here to the right side. But now you decided that these drums are going a little bit too hot, so you go to the mixer in the session screen, you turn them down a little bit, and your automation is gone. So you can like reactivate your automation, but then your level's back to what it was before. And if you have like 2 or 3 nodes, you can always of course rebalance them, but if you have 10 tracks automated, that will be a really painful process. The best thing that you can do instead is just to slap a little utility at the end of each track and automate the gain and balance there. So you can do the same automation here with the gain and balance, and when you're back to balancing the whole track, your automation will stay intact, and this trick can save you hours of clicking and playing with nodes. I'd love to hear from you. What are your favorite productivity tips on Ableton Live? Drop a comment below and share your wisdom with the community. But we're not stopping here. To take your productivity to the next level, you need to know some essential shortcuts. That's why I've put together a video of the 7 most powerful shortcuts in Ableton Live. And hey, if you found this video helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm show the video to other music producers who might find it useful. Ready to dive into those powerful shortcuts? Let's go.